Would you like to be a bee, a busy, busy bee, buzzing round from flower to flower, in the sunshine and the showers, buzzing round for hours and hours? Wouldn't you like to be a bee? Biz, biz, busy bee, biz, biz, busy bee, biz, biz, busy bee, biz, 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 busy bee, biz, biz, busy bee, biz, biz, busy bee, biz, biz, biz.
Hello everybody, I'm Susie B and today I'm in a beautiful pollinator garden dedicated to helping sustain pollinator by providing them with host plants, pesticide-free nectar, as well as suitable habitat for native bees.
Did you know that a third of our food would not be possible without pollinators? That's right, without pollinators there'd be no peaches, almonds, strawberries, blueberries. That's just to name a few. So without pollinators, we'd be left eating just the staple grains like corn, wheat, rice, sugar. Boring, not to mention bloating. This is what our grocery store shelves would look like without them.
That insects are actually the creatures that do run the world and that are truly, truly wonderful. And all of those 7 billion people we just heard about on this planet, their lives are touched by insects in many ways, but in a very important way through food, because all 7 billion people need to eat, and insects are responsible for a lot of the pollination of food.
Here is products that do require some form of insect pollination. Oranges, cider, pears, some soap, so I got some coffee, so some almonds. Without coffee and chocolate and things like Spanish chocolate, your morning breakfast is starting to look pretty
Now,
good.
bees pollinate crops and wildflowers, and a quick question to you. How many of you like coffee? Chocolate? Yeah, and those are just a couple of examples of two crops that would not exist without the actions of pollinators. So the value of bees and other insects as pollinators is what I'm really trying to dissect and communicate. And about 2/3 of the flowering plants on the planet are pollinated by insects. And 1 in 3 bites of food is directly thanks to the actions of an insect pollinator.
Y'all pollinate the plants, you feed a human race, you eat most anything and go most any place, so spread your wings, you're nature's kings, let your stridulating ring.
Pollinators are really important because they provide us with 30% of the food we eat every single day. But how does pollination occur? Pollinators transfer pollen that contain the male cell sex of a flower to the female structures of another flower of the same species. When this happens, fertilization occurs, and the plant is able to produce new seeds and plants.
Hey, I am here to make some seeds. I wish I had some pollen. Hey, I got some pollen. Check it out. Can I have some? You bet. Come and get it. Well, we got a little problem. What? I can't walk. Oh, right. Neither can I. If only there was someone who could pick up your pollen and bring it over here to me.
Hello, busy bee. Yes, you can have a drink, but there's one thing that you should know. You carry my pollen to and fro. That will help us grow and grow. Thank you, busy bee.
Pollen is a vital component of plant reproduction. It's produced by the male parts of the plant, specifically the anthers. Pollen consists of microscopic grains which contain the male genetic material. When lots of these grains collect in one place, we see them as a dust or powder. To reproduce effectively, pollen needs to be transferred to the female parts of the flower on a different plant. When pollen lands on the female part, specifically the stigma, it grows a tube down to the ovary. This tube allows the male genetic material to move downwards and fertilize an ovule. The ovule contains the female genetic material. Once fertilized, an ovule will develop to become a seed, the next generation for the plant.
Insects play a role in transferring pollen. In most plants, pollen exists as a powder. This honeybee, collecting nectar from apple blossoms, has grains of pollen sticking to her body hair. She is carrying this pollen from blossom to blossom, pollinating the flowers and initiating the fertilization process. As a result, apples containing fertile seeds start to develop.
Insects, on the other hand, pollinate flowers with precision. The bright colors and strong fragrances of flowers attract insects. Once lured to the flowers, insects discover pollen and nectar. Bees, butterflies, and other insects gather pollen and nectar to feed themselves and their young. As insects move from plant to plant, they transfer pollen from one flower to the next. Fertilization occurs and seeds are formed.
Pollinators enable plants to have sex. And there's good sex and there's bad sex. And good sex for a plant, just like for a person, is sex with a different flower or different person. And bad sex bad sex is sex with yourself. So pollinators help prevent a very severe phenomenon called inbreeding depression.
But unfortunately, they are threatened by the use of pesticides on our plants and in agriculture.
Researchers know that the causes are multiple. Combination of habitat loss, pathogens, alien species, agrochemical pollution, and even climate change. And the consequences are dramatic. Bees and other pollinators are sentinels of whole ecosystems that heavily depend on them to thrive. Declining pollinators mean negative effects in wild plant populations, crop production, and eventually human nutrition.
But how can we help?
Provide a habitat for the pollinators. Turns out we're losing them at an alarming rate, and we really can't live without them. Number 2, save some green. Native plants are what the pollinators love, and native plants don't need a lot of water, pesticide, and fertilizer. Number 3, one up the Joneses. You're going to have the best looking garden on the block because it's going to be teeming with life, full of color and bloom and nectar.
In particular, you can notice that there are purple, yellow, and white colored flowers here. Bees actually see in the UV, so these are colors that they visually pick up better than flowers that are in the reds. We have a mix here of native species like this orange California poppy and some non-natives here that still provide good resources for the bees. The important thing about this garden is that we have flowers all season long. It goes from spring into fall, and here in California we actually are lucky enough that we can have flowers all through the winter. You can also see that there are a bunch of different shapes and sizes of flowers, and that will accommodate a diversity of different bees. not just our honeybees, which are generalists, but some of the specialist bees that reside here in California.
Want to know which plants are native to your area? There's an app for that. It's called the Bee Smart Pollinator Gardener app, and it's free. All you need to know is your zip code. It's super cool. You can choose by pollinator species, bloom color, sunlight, soil type, or plant type.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and now I'm gonna go do my work thanks to your help. See you next time!
A plant can't grow if it don't have seeds, so pollination is what it needs. From the stamen to the pistil, the pollen goes. Pollination is the reason that a flower grows. So grow plant, grow taller and taller. Grow plant, grow and watch it climb. Grow plant, grow about a flower. Grow plant, grow, it's pollination time. Now the very best friend to a plant can be a beetle, a moth, or a honeybee, a wasp or a bat or a butterfly, a bird or a mammal that wanders by. Grow plant, grow, goodbye flower. Grow plant, grow, it's time for fruit. Grow plant, grow, seeds in the middle. Grow plant, grow, pollination salute. If you like almonds and pumpkins too, watermelons and berries of red and blue, candy bars made of chocolate that are fun to chew, you should thank pollinators for what they do. Grow plant, grow taller and taller. Grow plant, grow and watch it climb. Grow plant, grow, how about a flower? Grow plant, grow, it's pollination time. Grow plant, grow taller and taller. Grow plant, grow and watch it climb. Grow plant, grow, how about a flower? Grow plant, grow, it's pollination time. Grow plant, grow taller and taller.